呢兩個係嚟打擂台去美國拳手嘅，有冇帶我哋去啊
？Okay, USA. Okay, USA.
I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. Exclusive.
What up guys, your boy Jair aka Dripmode, and guys, I am back, and today we're going to be building a dial. As I'm waiting for other commission jobs that are coming in that are unique, I want to build something for my collection that I don't have. So the first thing that came to my mind was Bloodsport with Jean Claude Van Damme, the story of Frank Dux. It's a martial arts movie that came in 1988, and man, this film was one of my favorite films when I was growing up, and I was always watching it. Watching Frank Dux fight Chun-Li as Bolo Yeung. He's one of the old school fighters that actually have met Bruce Lee. So it's a great film. So today's dial is gonna be building the Kumite. So the Kumite is the location where a whole bunch of martial artists come together to compete at the Kumite. So I want to build the center ring, but I also want to build the scoreboard. It's a signature scoreboard. I mean, once you see it, you know that it's the Kumite. So that's what I want to build today. Now, with that being said, I'm noticing there's a couple of challenges because there's no figures for Frank Dux, Jean Claude Van Damme, and Chun-Li, Bolo Yeung. So I'm gonna have to also build these figures. I've been practicing a little bit more, so I feel like this is another great opportunity for me to continue expanding my knowledge and skill sets to customizing figures. So today's dial is going to be building the Kumite and also building or creating, Frank Dux and Chun-Li. All right. So guys, let's get to it. All right, guys. So here's my sketch. Trying to understand the space, and here you got the stage where they fight. This is the scoreboard where the three judges stand, and then this is the shrine behind. So understanding the space is going to help me figure out what I really want to do. So on Tinkercad, I started just understanding the geometry of the space so that I could make some decisions here. And this is great right here, and I would love to build this, but it's just this is gonna be huge, so I wouldn't build this version. So I'm gonna be building the stage, the judge area, and the scoreboard. So normally you see me starting with some foam, but this time the structure of the stage, and I'm gonna be using balsa wood to do that, and then the stage itself, I think I'm gonna be using foam. I was able to build the frame of the stage, right, using foam to do the surface. Okay. All I'm really doing is just gluing this part of the stage, putting a lot of hot glue. And first I'm just gonna make sure they touch each other, and then I'll fill in the gaps, align to the marks that I created, and then now getting the other portion of the stage and then just connecting and making sure that I align, and then just hold it down. In the back, again, we got this hole right here, so just gonna fill it in. I nerd out when I see stuff like this because I'm like, oh, it's coming together, So as you can see, I'm making the wood for this stage. I want to make it look like wood, so took out my bristles. They sell them at Home Depot. They come with 3 different types of bristle material and also strength. Just gotta press and go in one direction. Get you those details. It looks like wood. So with this technique, basically you're gonna make the whole deck look like wood. Alright, so next up, I'm gonna make a table. So I'm gonna use this poster foam. Trying to get some measurements just to figure out what works. Can't compare the resistance to wood, but definitely for props like tables. We got a table, guys. Look at that. It's coming together. It's coming together. Okay, I left the space here is because there's some beams here in second stage, and then the two signs are on top. Gonna be using my wire cutter here to make the inserts for the columns. So this is the frame for the scoreboard, and here we go. Next up is the scoreboard, and went ahead and made this one. Came out exactly how I wanted it. So just using this as a template, tracing the squares, and just cutting them out right here. Alright, so I'm gonna work on the second floor. Now, I was debating if I needed it, but I actually do. And it's gonna for two things. One is for support. I'm gonna use that second floor to keep the back and this frame kind of connected together. And then also I'm gonna create the floor so it cast a shadow down here. I'll be able to put the shrine and maybe a little lamp. So got foam, and I'm gonna cut it. I cut it the same size. I'm also gonna create some of the boards that I did here on here to give an additional leverage right there. So. And it's creating the shadow that I need down here. It's gonna be good. Gonna be good. Alright, so I'm mixing here. I'm doing with some balsa with some foam board. This is the top sign. Don't know what it says. There's tiger, there's a dragon, and there's 3 characters here in the middle. So I'm actually building the board that goes around this sign. So. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is pretty much most of the carving is done. There is details I need to add, like the signage, the letters in here, and then the light bulbs on these things, but these guys I'm not gonna paint them just yet. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna prime everything black so I can start painting some of the main objects. So now I'm just gonna start painting all these pieces. So here we go. I gave it like 2 brown coats. And I purposely didn't make it look even. You know, it's wood, right? And I'm using a caramel brown. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dry brush, and we're gonna just dab it on this paper. And let's see, as you can see, just by grabbing the edge and picking up,
if it gives it kind of like a fade, right? So okay, that's good. So I'm gonna let it dry, and then we'll do a black, maybe dark brown type of wash. So off camera, I sealed this with the matte spray, and now those colors are all sealed in there and dry. Next thing we're gonna do is black wash it. So I got some black acrylic paint and I got some water. Added more water than acrylic paint, so it's all diluted. And now we're going to just brush the surface with the wash. Okay, and the black's gonna fall in between the cracks, the areas that are hard to get to. You're gonna see that now everything kind of just goes together. All that randomness right there going on, especially right here.
I was wrong. This is exactly like Knight Rider. Perhaps you'd be.
So now we're gonna be working on the actual stage, and now I'm gonna paint it white, and then after that I'm gonna go into it by staining it. Just start adding the blood stains on here, okay? I'm mixing some whites here. I'm looking at the reference, and you know, of course the stage is white, but with all the fighting and the 30 feet and everything, it starts getting more of an off-white. So what I decided to do was get a dab of brown, where it's gonna kind of give me this, or like an almond. Look at that. Now this looks a lot more realistic, and I don't have to color the whole, I don't have to paint the whole stage this color. I'm just gonna just try to mix it in. Okay. Here you can see the difference once you kind of see it from afar a little bit. You could tell the discoloration right over here. The stains are blood, and you know there's a guy there that he's kind of scrubbing it out off the mat. So I'm gonna be using a red brown, and I'm using my airbrush paint. As you can see, I'm just adding water to it, and that helps me just basically spread it more so it doesn't look so concentrated. But the best description I have is that this is kind of like watercolor. So now I'm going to be working on the table. The original table is has fabric, and it has the dragon, and it has yellow trimmings. So to start with that, got some black fabric, and now gonna cut it and wrap this piece in fabric. Okay, so don't know how I'm gonna go about it. Basically just cut it, fold it, maybe use some liquid stitch to kind of put this together. Okay, so next I have to glue the top part. Slowly, just maybe do section by section. It's helping, came out pretty good. I was able to glue it, wrap it. Now we're gonna be working on the gold trimming. So I found this ribbon that's actually pretty thin. Found this at Walmart. It's perfect. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add the trimming to the table, and then leave some space for 2 dragons in the front. Boom. The table where the judges sit down. There's 2 dragons here, so I went ahead and started cutting them out, and here we go. So now I just gotta find the right sweet spot and just glue. Voila, we got a table. We got a table. Just gotta space these guys out evenly. Make sure that this looks good. Put these characters a little bit closer. And there you go. Got the signage. Alright, next up is the signage. And there's cards here with the name and in both English and in Chinese. And there's the gold one and there's the red one. So I noticed that there's light bulbs, and I have these. I got this at a trade show. These is pretty convenient. It's battery operated. Look at that. So the next thing that I gotta do is I gotta drill a hole so I could pass these little balls in there. That's awesome. I could definitely manipulate it so I could go in a direction that looks like a bulb coming out. Ooh, that looks great. Okay. I went ahead and started cutting some of these cards out, and what I'm doing here is that I'm printing out the labels of the two fighters, Chun-Li and Frank Dukes. Also have them in a Cantonese handwriting, and I have some extras just in case I mess up. So here I already got Chun-Li and Frank Dukes already on there, and all I'm doing is cutting out cards of them. Decided to glue this frame. I made sure I didn't glue in between so I could slide these printouts as cards into the frame. And voila, it worked. We got the signage. So the next up is the shrine. So I started drawing it and breaking it down. Alright, so we got a shrine going. So I'm just going to do some coats of red. Alright, so with this gold permanent marker, gonna be adding some of that detail. Let's start adding some of the details, some of this balsa wood. So here's where we're at so far. Gotta add a mesh right between these right here, and then create a little figure. So I was able to get this stitch right here. So I'm gonna paint this grid gold. That's gonna go on the sides. On top there's this shape. So I decided to cut from this party like napkin and put that right there. Okay. Okay, so I got that going. I'm gonna let that dry. And there you have it. Next up, we're gonna do some scrolls. Now next up, I gotta find out what is exactly that's being said in these things. Hopefully I can find them. I can either find them and just copy them and draw them by hand. As I was doing my research, I realized that these weren't red. It's like a dark yellow. Got some sunset yellow on the tan side, I guess you could say. But it's the same yellow I'm using for the signage. Okay, so off the camera, I was trying to find an understanding of what the scrolls were saying. There's no real close-up of those scrolls, so it starts becoming a little bit blurry. So some of them are made up based on the judgment of what I've seen, and then some are just references of other characters that I found online. So I'm here using a pencil, but I think it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Normally I won't paint this type of board because it tends to warp. But I've been experimenting with how many coats, and I'm noticing that if I do 2 coats, it's more than enough for it not to warp. I'm gonna be using this green right here that's darker, called English Ivory Green, and start applying the strokes. And here I am gluing the scrolls down. That was good. That was good. So next up is the sand in the Kumite. Now the floor is all sand like a beach. So I was thinking about it, what's the best way to do it where you capture that look and feel. So my hunch is to go about it with clay. So normally I'll buy DAS clay. Right now I can't find any for some reason. So I'm using Craft Smart clay. It's the same thing, you know, air dry is just, I prefer DAS because that's the product that I'm familiar with. So going to start so right now it's still moist. I can still influence the look, you know, to make sure it looks like footprints, but it's gonna harden, so I'm gonna leave it overnight. Alright guys, it's next morning and it's all hard. It's great. I went in and filled in some of the gaps because as it got hard, it started cracking in some areas. That's perfectly fine. Got myself another warm buff. We're going to paint all this clay in that color. Now what I'm gonna have to do is let it dry, and then I'm gonna use an almond spray paint to just give it an additional coat, and then also just slightly just paint this area, because when you have the stage you'll be able to see through the actual frame. So I want to be able to mimic sand underneath as well. So I started working on this more and more, and I wanted to make it look complete. At first it was supposed to be real simple, but as you start building it, you start going the extra miles. So I started working on the second floor on that area, and I feel like I need to add the rails. So I got balsa wood. So it's gonna be this long for all of them. So I got my drill bit, and I'm gonna start cutting. Alright, so here's the top piece, as you can see. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually put this beam inside, so it's gonna at least fit in there. And this should be a good height. This should be a really good height. here's the rails of the second floor, so the insert real easily. And voila. So going to just do the same thing I did to this, you know, prime it, paint it with brown, then, you know, dry brush it, seal it, black wash it. So now I'm gonna bore you with that detail. Alright, next up is the Tiki Torches. So I added a mark right there. Got 2 Tiki Torches. Now, I went to the Lego store, so I got these little saucers. What I'm thinking about doing is just gluing these together. What I can do is I can actually create my own flame using some super glue. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. So let me glue this guy right now. Okay. Wait up to dry. Let's start painting it. Next up is flame. Now, all this is right here is hot glue. So what I could do with this, I could paint it, you know, orange and yellow to make it look like a flame. And it would be a great way to create your own flames. Here's how I'm gonna do it. So I got this glue gun right here. And I'm gonna just put a ball. The mix looks like a good flame. So just have to glue this guy on top. And this will be perfect. Gonna use some yellow. Maybe like an orange, just to make it look like a flame. All right, we got a flame. Pretty cool. Got it in. Here you go, guys. Here is my Bloodsport Kumite Diorama. Guys, this dial really took me through a journey. I started it in September. Unfortunately, I ended up getting COVID and that kind of set me back. But then once I got back on my feet, went full throttle, and then the challenge really became the figures. These are custom made figures. They don't make them, you know, they don't make a Jean Claude figure, they don't make a Bolo Yeung figure. So I actually had to get some UFC figures, mod them, and actually get the faces. But Chung-Li was the hardest because I have not seen one person make this head in this scale. So I had to learn how to shrink a 1/6 scale mold all the way down to a 1/12 scale mold. So that this guy took a long time to make, but I'm satisfied with the outcome. Definitely with more practice, it's gonna refine your skills and get better and better at it. So, but I really wanted to create the characters so I could just kind of just paint the whole story. In regards to the dial itself, the dial was pretty straightforward. I didn't think it was that crazy challenging. The lights were challenging just because I'm using these string lights that they usually put in for decorations. These are not LED lights like how you would see in my other videos. So I actually had to kind of glue in the bag and actually put a switch, just to turn these guys on, so I'm not able to control them with the remote. This style is very accessory heavy, you know. I have to do a table from scratch using also fabric. Have to make the little temple in the back, the little shrine, and then the lettering. There is no high definition reference of these lettering, so I really had to look deep. Then the lights, you know, the little poles with the flame. And then this stage was fun. I actually enjoyed doing the stage because once I built it, I was like, man, this is so memorable. Just seeing this stage, you catch it. And then I had an opportunity to play around with one of my favorite scenes where they're telling him to break the brick, break the bottom one. So yeah, so I'm adding a bunch of little references that if you grew up watching this movie, you know what I'm talking about. Alright, and then one final thing, it's actually a pretty long dial, probably one of my longest ones. Height, you know, 24 inches, so it's pretty typical height on my dials, but it's actually very long. It's a very long dial, so gonna see where I'm gonna put this guy in my collection. That is it. This is the reason why it took so long, and I actually disappeared for a month, and then but now I'm here. So this is it. Pretty dope. I'm happy with it. I'm really happy to show it to you guys, and I am gonna make a video just on the figures itself so you guys can see the journey that I went through. Alright, well guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for keeping in touch. A lot of you guys were actually reaching out to me, so thank you guys. Mad love to everyone, all the great support from you guys. But yeah, that's it guys. So I hope you guys learned something in this video. Guys, if you have a comment, write a comment. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
I'm all the way up. All the way up. I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up.